Danganronpa.
Time for another long frickin' trial. And of course we have to go save Uri Geller because whatever. He can't die without us dying, so it's kind of like a wasted opportunity.
Monokuma appears!
Well, I guess you're adding insult to injury. You know they're a bunch already.
Wrong.
Or you just have two of yourself.
Boy, tough crowd.
We're not impressed. Do a magic trick.
Stop talking.
Guess what card I'm thinking of.
Okay. Hey!
I want to call it the pain
Let's
train.
go.
Though.
Please!
What the heck?
You're... you read my mind. Unlike Uri Geller over here.
Hey.
That's right.
Everyone just shut up. We're gonna be really awkward in the elevator, like normal people are. This is a good time to start panicking internally. Oh, who would have guessed? Wow. Anyway. Jiggle, 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 jiggle. Oh wait, I forgot my wallet. Oh, no, never mind. Okay, now I can tell that. Now I notice the change in scenery.
Just the worst. Wah-wah?
That doesn't make up for it.
Come on.
We're to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and we're all out of gum. I think you would, but
Yahoo!
too bad no advertising got wind of this whole scheme. They would be all over it. I can see it now. The Gatorade Danganronpa Killing Hour, sponsored by Zales or something. I was gonna make that joke that you were gonna do it, and you beat me to it. I get the feeling that those aren't even different from before. You just have like a note that you bring with you that you say in your head. There's a lot more crap in here than I thought. Anyone want a present? I brought mineral water. And we're good. All those things should help, kind of, maybe.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate.
Kind of waiting for you to mix this up.
Now then, to begin with...
Kind of like every season of Survivor.
We already know who did it.
Ah.
Was that?
Surprise!
It was Hiro. He does not have an alibi for when the murders took place, and we found him in that suit. Don't try and deny it. You killed them.
I didn't! Someone knocked me out! I was asleep the whole time! I don't know anything about it!
Shut your murdering mouth, murderer!
Who are you calling a murderer?
I am sorry to say, Hiro, but we do have evidence. Blueprints for the suit. Parts we assume were used to build it, and all of it was found in your room. You have to admit, the evidence is quite compelling.
Unless someone just tried to frame him, that would be pretty easy
It
too.
points to you as having created the suit and wearing it while committing crime after crime.
How many times do I have to tell you?
Like, give it like another 50.
I don't know! I don't know!
I think everyone should believe him on that one. Okay, let's... Show and tell. Let's go around the circle.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
Crap, I missed it already. Hang on.
I don't know anything about that
I'll
stuff!
just add some time.
It's not true! It's a conspiracy!
Hiro, why? Why did you kill them?
No! Just hold on a second!
Everything we found in your room.
Oh wait, they give us hints if you don't...
The blueprints, the suit parts.
No, that's wrong. Are we sure Hiro really made those blueprints?
What do you mean?
Well, take a look at this. It's the note that Hiro wrote, asking everyone to meet up after Alter Ego disappeared. The handwriting's obviously different, wouldn't you say? When you compare it to the blueprints.
There's no way you could think the same person made both of them.
Unless that person made it a point to disguise their handwriting.
They have really good handwriting though in two different forms. That's...
No, the differences are bigger than that, I think.
Come on! I'm not smart enough to think of trying to change my handwriting anyway.
That's the smartest thing you've said.
So Makoto, are you saying you don't think Hiro's the culprit?
And he's not the only one. I think Hiro's innocent as well.
I mean, now I don't feel as confident, but...
Then who was in that Robo-Justice suit? Is it like Hiro said? Was there really someone running around in a second suit?
Well...
The suspicious individual hidden within the suit. Go ahead, Makoto. Tell them who it was.
So? Who was in the Robo-Justice suit?
I love how they always have to fill a third spot, which is something... Yuri Geller must have wrote that one, but...
I got it!
It's still him.
Other than Hiro, I can't think of anyone else it could have been. Obviously, he was the one in that particular suit. And we never found any kind of second suit.
But that doesn't kill the case.
Then there can be no doubt. Hiro is the prime suspect.
That doesn't make any sense. You just said Hiro didn't do it.
It makes perfect sense. Hiro was the suspicious individual in the suit, but he's not the culprit.
So what you're saying is...
That's right. The culprit in this case has nothing to do with being in the Robo-Justice suit.
Kind of expected a, more enlightening conclusion.
What? Now that's a bold assumption. And what reason do you have to make such a statement? You do have a reason, yes?
I'm rich.
Of course. But before we get to that, there's something else we need to clarify first. So let's get that out of the way.
Deflection.
Hey, stop trying to boss us around.
This is kind of late for you to say that.
All things have a proper order.
He wrote it down beforehand.
So what is it? What needs to be clarified?
We must clarify the method of transportation for Taka's lifeless body.
Sure.
It would seem that his corpse was moved using certain particular items. Makoto, can you tell us what they were?
I mean, that's not a hard question.
I got it!
Now hang on, since we're jumping to random topics, let's talk about fixing the economy. We found him immediately. It's not a big deal.
They were a dolly and a tarp, right?
It was, though.
So, let's see if I can explain. Taka's body disappeared from the equipment room. And then we rediscovered it in the repository. And when we found it for the second time, it was wrapped in a blue tarp, right? It was the same tarp that, up until then, was stored in the equipment room. So the killer must have seen it there and decided to use it when they moved Taka's body. That way, they wouldn't leave any bloodstains while they were moving it.
Okay, that explains the tarp. And the dolly?
It has wheels, and it goes
Same
vroom.
thing. I'm sure the dolly was in the equipment room when we first found Taka's body there. But when the body disappeared, so did the dolly.
Gosh, this is one of those, like, spot the differences puzzles. Glad we solved it
Later,
already.
when Taka's body reappeared in the repository, so did the dolly.
In other words, you think they used the dolly to move the body. Am I right?
Yes.
But are you sure you are not mistaken?
Yes.
Huh?
Are you absolutely positive the dolly was in the equipment room when we found Taka's body?
I mean, did you see the flashback? I'm pretty confident.
That dolly was made specifically for moving large objects between the repository and the art room. It would be very strange indeed to discover it had made its way to the equipment room.
Unless it was on purpose.
Is it not possible that it was in the repository all along, and you simply didn't realize it?
She's raised an objection. How do you respond?
Stop meddling with my mind!
There is no shame in being wrong. Nobody expects much from you anyway.
I've solved 2 murders!
We have all accepted the fact that you rarely understand what is going on around you.
I'm gonna come up there and choke you! Didn't need it, but okay. They're just gonna add all the keys on the keyboard at some point. I have to do this already?
You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. Away with you. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst, you miserable wretch. You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. I cannot agree.
This should prove it.
I didn't even read any of that stuff. I'm just so glad that I'm figuring out how the hell to do anything in this game.
If you're asking for proof that the dolly moved, I have it right here.
Oh, that's what we were trying to do. Okay.
When I found the dolly in the repository, one of the wheels had a blood stain on it.
Yeah.
There was a pool of blood in the equipment room with a tire mark in it that matched the dolly wheel's tread.
So unless someone just like rubbed blood onto the wheels and made those marks
The
themselves.
killer probably rolled the dolly through the blood on accident as they wheeled the body out of the room. And as the blood dried on the tire, they moved the body into the repository. So there's my proof that the dolly was used to move Taka's body.
Well, anyway, that was just something we had to get out of the way. Let's get back to the main subject.
Yeah, thanks for that detour.
Yeah, the subject of how Robo Justice didn't do it. Because if it's not a killer robot, then
I want to get back to the subject of whether or not Dracula hates everybody or just me.
what kind of robot is it?
I'm not sure that really matters.
It's a Roomba.
I'd be happy to explain why the occupant of the suit couldn't possibly be the killer.
Go for it!
If you look back on how the body was transported, it will become immediately obvious.
Oh, well, I'm gonna finish your sentence anyway. Or, no, I'm just gonna do it this way. Fair enough.
As we know, Taka was killed in the equipment room. And from there, the body was moved to the repository, correct?
Yeah, the culprit wrapped the body in the tarp, then loaded it onto the dolly and wheeled it off, right?
Now, keep in mind that the dolly doesn't have a handle.
Well, yeah, but even without a handle, all you'd have to do is bend over.
You're the one that was in the
No,
suit.
that's wrong. You're absolutely right that you could push a dolly without a handle if you stoop down low. But if you were wearing that suit, do you think you could actually get into a position like that?
Probably couldn't get into any position ever.
What do you mean?
Think back to what you said when we were all checking out the suit together. Remember? When you're in that suit, not only can you not see your feet, but you can't even bend at the waist. Am I right about that?
So maybe he just dropped down to the floor and slowly inchwormed his way all the way down to like the... I forgot what the bodies ended up. Repository.
Now that you mention it, yeah.
It seems like it'd be awfully hard to push that dolly if you couldn't bend over.
Glad we all remember now.
Well, what's to stop you from simply pushing the dolly with your feet?
That'd be weird.
When you can't even see your feet? You really think someone could kick the dolly all that way?
Oh crap, went down the stairs.
Yeah, it'd be totally impossible. Not that I can say for sure myself.
On top of that, if you were wearing such a rigid, cumbersome suit, it's very unlikely you would have the dexterity to go about wrapping the body in a tarp.
Well, I mean, isn't that just a matter of taking off the suit when you're ready to move the body?
Maybe, but that just wasn't made possible for some reason.
I don't think taking off the suit was an option. If you remember...
Oh, I get it. I was gonna say, why wouldn't you just make the suit like that so you could pin the crime on somebody else, but the whole point is for them to stay in the suit, so you want to trap them. And, well, I mean, you could probably trap
That's
frickin'
true.
Yuri Geller over
It
here in
seems
a...
impossible to put the suit on or take it off without help.
Yeah, you could probably, I mean, you could probably trap in a cardboard box without taping it up, but still.
Then, you really can't take it off by yourself? Hero wasn't just making it up?
Of course I wasn't making it up.
If he could have gotten it off by himself, I don't think he would have let us see him wearing it. Showing up in the suit was basically an invitation for everyone to suspect it.
Which was the point, see?
Yeah, that's right.
So, it's really, really true that Robo Justice couldn't have moved the dolly?
To be clear, whoever did move the body, it couldn't have been Hero in the robot suit, correct?
Exactly.
No, wait. Just a second, if you please. Have you forgotten about the picture that I took? You all got a good look at it, did you not? The image of Hifumi being dragged away by Robo Justice?
I remember it now. Before we get into the next phase, I want to see if I can save. Yes, I can. We're coming up on one of those absorb bullets, and I never know how that's gonna go down.
If whoever was in that suit is not the culprit, how do you explain that?
Your camera's broken.
Besides, Do you remember what the now deceased Hifumi said?
Yeah, he blamed Yuri Geller. Well, I wasn't happy about it. Wait, that's the thing you point
So
to?
long as those facts exist, the proper conclusion is beyond question. The individual inside the suit and the culprit are one and the same. It was Hiro, without a doubt.
Yeah, that's gotta be right.
Do you just believe everything you hear?
Hold on a second!
It's still far too early to reach that conclusion.
I believe it was Charles Manson. Are we all on the same page?
There's no hurry to decide who did it.
Except my shows are on.
Before we rush to a verdict, shouldn't we explore every single possibility? Instead of seizing on one viewpoint, the truth is uncovered by analyzing things from every angle.
That sounds boring.
Perhaps, but where do we go from here?
Let's review this series of unfortunate events from the beginning. Maybe we'll uncover something new.
What a pain in the ass!
That's what I said.
I don't disagree, but our lives are on the line. If this is what it takes, we have to do it.
Plus, maybe we'll get to find out where the heck Kyoko was when everything went down.
How do you feel about that?
All right then, let's take another look back at what happened.
I wanted her to say no
I
again.
suppose we could start with this morning. 4 of us gathered together in the dining hall. Makoto, Hina, Kyoko, and myself. We waited there for quite a while, but nobody else showed up. So we went to look for everyone. That was around 8 a.m.
And as soon as we split up, Kyoko went missing.
Not cool.
Soon after that, Hina found Celeste in the rec room and quickly came to get Makoto and me.
It seems I was unconscious for about an hour after I was attacked by my mystery assailant. I know it was an hour because I remember being attacked a little after 7.
That was when we saw Celeste's picture and discovered that her assailant had been wearing a strange costume. As it turns out, it was Robo-Justice. It also soon became clear that this same Robo-Justice had abducted Hifumi. We were soon joined in our search by Byakuya and Toko, and then went on to find Hifumi in the library.
Then things got even weirder.
He was injured, so we took him to the nurse's office and resumed our search for the suspect.
Right, we all said, well, screw that, he'll be fine, and then whoops!
But not long after leaving the nurse's office,
When Celeste told us that, we decided to split up and search the second floor.
Yeah, this was a
And
mess.
soon after that,
I saw someone moving around on the 3rd floor, and I yelled out to everyone as soon as I did.
and then,
I think the real mystery here is how you have curlers big enough to style your hair. Isn't that right?
at that point we decided to divide up into 2 groups. Celeste, Hina, and I went back to the nurse's office, while Sakura, Byakuya, and Toko chased after the suspect. When we got back to the nurse's office, we found Hifumi, dead. And that's when we heard the body discovery announcement.
But that's also when
I
they
left
found...
Celeste and Hina there and headed back to the 3rd floor to let the others know what had happened.
We gonna mention the whole, other guy dying?
meanwhile, we had just discovered Taka's
Thank
body
you.
in the equipment room. We must have found both bodies at almost exactly the same time, because we heard the same announcement not long after we discovered his body.
And that's gonna be essential.
And that's when I told you guys about Hifumi. Then the 3 of us headed for the nurse's office. But right after we left the physics lab, we ran into Celeste, who'd arrived after us. And she told us something very surprising.
Probably more stupid stuff, right? Oh yeah, body's gone. What?
We rushed back to the nurse's office and saw that she was right.
Then we remembered we'd left Toko passed out in the equipment room, so we hurried back again.
We're on a roll.
But when we got there, we discovered that now Taka's body had also gone missing.
We're all played for fools.
Next thing we knew, we were searching the school for 2 missing dead bodies.
Yeah, because they got up and ran off.
And after some time,
Celeste informed us that she'd found the bodies, and we all headed to the repository, which is where we rediscovered the corpses.
I think that about covers it.
And then we start a campfire and sing Kumbaya, and now we're all friends again.
I see. The whole thing sounds exceptionally complicated.
I'm surprised no one has told you this beforehand. I mean, I thought there was enough time.
It certainly seems to me that these are not a simple series of connected events.
You just said it was complicated.
Okay, well, if that's true, then what?
It's not simple.
Rather than a single series of events, I think we have to consider each murder a separate situation. And from there, we can uncover the contradictions surrounding all of them. Now then, let's get started, beginning with what happened to Taka.
Okay, time to get our ducks in a row.
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
what makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was
Now I
killed
need to
with
do it in
Justice
the
Hammer
other
3,
order. Crap.
while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
Crap! Oh no, so you're saying that the numbering was set up for the sole purpose of confusing us.
We already know what order they were. Taka came last.
What makes you say
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was
killed with just while Taka's dead?
See? So it's obvious Taka came.
Okay, I'm gonna...
So, regarding Taka's, I wonder if he...
This may not be right, but I feel like
we
it's...
already know what order they were killed in.
No, that's wrong.
Whew.
Hold on. There's no reason to assume that the hammers were used in the same order as their numbers. If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their actions.
So you're saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were used in order, but in reality, Taka was killed before Hifumi? Okay then, let's see the proof.
Not a problem. We'll just go inside our minds here and shoot down some letters. That makes total sense. Oh boy, there are a lot of letters. Oh, I have to do it in order! I never knew that. I still effed up, so I'll be back. Gosh, now that I just did like the entire phase 3 again, I realized how many frickin' flashbacks there were. Holy crud. Okay. Gotta love Wheel of Fortune. Damn it. And there we go. Perfection.
Now I understand. I've got it. Taka's wristwatch. See? Look. It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
See, if the killer didn't notice that, why would we?
It must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer. Because as of last night...
Still better about what you said to us.
So if it wasn't broken after 6 last night, then he must have been attacked around 6 this morning.
And that would be his official time of death.
But if that's true, then he was killed well before Hifumi.
And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7.
That's right. Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place.
But what does that affect?
That simple fact slipped past all of us. We made the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those justice hammers.
That's exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6,
Oh.
then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window.
Thank you. That is kind of important.
Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
That may be true in the case of Taka's murder, but all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe.
And we know there's just one mastermind.
When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except for Hiro and Kyoko.
Oh, crap.
Then we all ran down to the nurse's office, and that's where we found his body. That's totally true. We're all in the clear.
Oh, I know! They must have recorded him screaming on a tape or something, then played it later on!
Do you have the tape?
If that's true, where's the tape?
I don't know.
Don't just go making stuff up.
Anyway, we all have rock-solid alibis for when we heard Hifumi scream. Since all of us were there together, clearly none of us could have killed him.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from the nurse's office, Hina and I were in the bathroom together, while everyone else was in the equipment room, correct? And then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room. At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing.
Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time.
So that's everyone accounted for again, except for Yuri Geller and the Riffing.
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have dragged Taka's body out of there right then!
Too much blood.
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body.
And that's true.
Because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room when his body disappeared.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway.
In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of their bodies.
That's based on the assumptions we're making, though.
On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared, so they most certainly could have done those things.
So what now, Kyoko?
I'm putting this on you.
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles.
Yeah, you would say that.
So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how. In particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
Oh, crap. That sounds like a pain in the ass.
That's true. We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing. And according to what Celeste said, his body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it.
It's ridiculous.
But to carry that much weight from the first floor up to the third in that short amount of time?
Oh man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Do you want to make anything else up while you have the chance? No?
Well,
Okay.
what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
How the frick did you figure out this entire case in like 5 minutes?
What? How?
If the dead body were to move itself.
I thought we would make that conclusion, fine.
The dead body moved on its own?
Well, we saw it happen once.
No! Not another... ghost!
You sound like Shaggy.
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is
He wasn't dead.
we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was alive?
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
You sure?
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
It isn't possible.
You sure? Because this helps explain one of the most ridiculous things that's happened so far.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to
Signal someone else's discovery.
And I did the reverse.
Shoot!
My bad. Nope, I see how that makes more sense. Great. Come on, this is a long one.
Are you saying that when we first there's a chance you...
No. Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body that Hifumi's dead, and that is...
Are we really so sure? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Oh, that was the end, though. Okay.
Are you saying
that when we first found there's a chance he was at...
No. Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body discovery, and now
Hifumi's dead body had been found.
That's the ticket.
No, that's wrong.
Okay.
Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Oh, now that I think about it, when it comes to the absorb bullets, you should just attack the person you think's the worst. And you're probably gonna win.
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if 2 bodies had been found, there really should have been 2 announcements.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
He's gonna rake you over the fire.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
That wasn't a real phrase, was it?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail. But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that...
It was accurate.
It's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man. We were asking if you're a lazy bum.
No, actually, that was plenty.
We already know he's a lazy bum.
Huh?
He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time, which means even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice.
Which makes sense for 2 bodies.
I got it! We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the 2 bodies. It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
Then in reality, when the 2 dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
Meaning he didn't die until later in the day.
And that's just part of it. There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
Oh, I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom!
I mean, sure.
That is the worst logic I have ever heard. But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
I have something.
Okay then, let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body. Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
How are we not talking over each other? We're actually really good at that. Everyone give yourself a pat on the back for respecting each other's opinions until we, reveal the killer.
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
No, that's wrong. In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository. His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood.
Pretty messy.
But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can.
Oh lord, something you use to wipe glasses.
I got it!
Ooh, risky.
It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot.
No need to name him, no one knows who it is.
One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right?
Oh, maybe? Not like I care.
And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was Princess Piggles from Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
So you remember that part? I swear.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
Or else they'd be very embarrassed right now.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
That covers it.
So what you're saying is... what exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
Why not?
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
I mean, it was a huge contradiction from when we saw him last. There's no reason to make that.
That's a
Have
good
that happen.
point.
Then it must have been him, right?
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet.
How about that?
And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies.
Oh, yeah, we saw that.
He probably used one of those.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out, so he just dumped it everywhere! But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done! God, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
The one person we didn't even think to account for. Taka! He was alive too!
I got it! It could only have been Hifumi.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
Someone's got a really good alibi.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked? Well, After the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right?
Yeah.
So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside, which means when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
Yes, he was inside.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
Oh, mic drop. That's pretty freaking sweet.
But that means he took part in the murders.
Damn straight.
I just can't believe it.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
You mean we're gonna show one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Of course, my pockets are full of junk.
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
Gotta love that title, The Note Hifumi Had. That's all we got.
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Who wants to reveal where we found it?
Hidden note?
Oh,
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his pants?
Yes, his pants.
his pants? Pants? What are pants?
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
But we've said pants like 50 times already.
Ah! That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go.
Huh?
Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said,
1 in the morning.
Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
You just said it wasn't!
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro, and that person could only have been... I got it! That's right! Taka!
It matches with the time of
The
death.
killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection!
Why do you care?
I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
It's a shame they're dead now, because those are also good nicknames.
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Nope, she just listed a bunch of mumble rappers off the top of her head.
Ugh! Yes! Why must you ruin it every time? Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said.
Why are all these things spinning?
What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
I'm literally using the
No,
wristwatch
what's wrong?
against you. You gave him the appropriate nickname and you didn't even know it.
No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. You've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet.
Oh, I didn't actually read
The
it.
equipment room, right?
Neat.
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
It like totally fits.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that... No further objections!
Phew.
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, What was Hifumi doing with it?
Taking back evidence?
Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely. Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Huh? He stole it?
By the way, should we pass the note around for everyone? Everyone gets a good touch?
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
Okay, I have this little tiny piece of paper that's totally important. Can we all believe it?
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
We could have done that so much earlier, but what? This works too.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
Indeed.
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly, which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
I thought we went over how accomplices are stupid.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure.
Radical dudes.
In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive.
Whoops, you went a little too far. Just a wee bit.
Sorry, no. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead.
Except for the whole waking up part.
The second body discovery announcement proves that.
That's just gonna be... I don't know.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository, so he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
I mean, didn't everyone have an opportunity?
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body.
Great.
In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together.
Okay, I can believe that.
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Walrus?
Who are you calling a walrus?
What about her makes her a walrus?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
Yeah, where these nicknames are coming from. They're getting out of hand.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file,
Just got a really hard slap in the head.
the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right?
Crap!
So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it.
Stop being good at this! What?
But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
I mean, good timing, dude, considering that you still could be a murderer.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
I always know how to ruin it.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments.
So what's the final murder
But if
weapon?
the hammers were already laying around those other rooms,
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers?
No, the question is where'd they find a hammer?
Personally, I haven't a clue.
No crap you don't.
So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Doesn't matter.
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then,
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I'd say so.
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
We just have to find the same kind of thing.
so then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
Oh, okay.
What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3?
We're just gonna list off hammers.
Justice Hammer 4.
Oh my gosh.
Well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Wait, is that real?
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice.
No, that's wrong. The murder weapon wasn't a justice hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi.
It's probably when they got the other ones.
Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones,
Screwdriver hammers.
and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the justice hammers used those as a basis for their design.
And then just painted
If
them.
that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
And whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him.
Correct.
Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him.
Oh, I see. So he just grabbed a hammer and whacked himself in the head really hard.
The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder.
Unless there was some kind of secondary benefit. That's not the point. I wanted to get here and do another save, because I can see more things going poorly, but we'll find out.
So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
I already brought it up, in fact. That's gonna be
Based on
useless.
the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
I'm gonna have to take that down.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Oh wait! That's what I said, like an episode ago!
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true.
No, that's wrong. Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering.
So you're telling me the idea that I had was actually the idea that just happened?
Naturally,
Okay.
if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
Okay, so economics.
The payoff for working
Oh,
together.
never mind.
The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme.
Oh yeah, I remember the last person who tried to do that to us. Dracula!
There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime, and based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act. murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
Seamless probably isn't the right word, but intricate and ridiculous, yep.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
I'm sure.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so cruel?
I think we've asked that question multiple times now, and the answer is very easily.
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
I mean, they were off to murder Hitler Youth. Who's the perfect guy for that? Yeah, thanks for the help, by the way. Not that we'll ever thank you. We'll think it, though. Damn. Yeah, you know, it's almost like this is some kind of special skill that she has. What do you call those kinds of things? I don't know.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved, but then who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now.
Damn straight. I suppose. Who's the only one that was actually involved that wasn't obviously set up? Did I just miss her? Of course I missed her. Gotta love it. just fooling you guys.
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
So I'm the suspicious individual now, am I?
No, you're the murderer.
I really do hate this kind of joke.
If this were a normal trial, we'd be over, but we have 3 more phases to go.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi.
Yeah, you stupid.
The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him,
That seems like the point.
that I would go within 10 feet of that shit for brains, that lazy, worthless goddamn idiot! Pardonnez-moi.
French isn't gonna save you now.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
Just one more safety save.
I got it!
That's really the main way to
The
figure this
behavior
out.
they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
I answered your freaking point.
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual.
Now you're stealing the kids' ideas.
If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
Yep.
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct?
And there was no individual.
And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
She had us on a leash the whole frickin' time.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor.
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
We all just fell for it.
And when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
I don't like being toyed with.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
She was just a distraction. And then she was another distraction.
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
Now that's probably the most devious part of this, by far.
In fact,
Dang.
Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Impressive.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on.
It's pretty stupid. You need to do better next time.
That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the 3rd floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead, Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered.
I mean, it was obvious, but
You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I guess if you had checked even a little bit, it wouldn't have been obvious. So, yeah. Did you like our frickin' edition, Mr. Master Richie Rich?
I don't believe it! Everything! The whole thing was one big act!
Uh-huh.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
I mean, heck, it was actually a pretty good show. I'd give it 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. I was feeling kinda sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom.
Part of the plan!
Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Have you even been listening?
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
Crap, it's not like I remember everything that was said.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
Crap! You said guys! How did you know there were 2 people?
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the 4 of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead.
Yeah, we basically shared no information ever. It was great.
Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
I get it, but I don't.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Oh my gosh! I shouldn't have said it because I revealed some big secret. No, we don't need that.
All I said was... They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it?
What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
And I did it again. I knew it as soon as I fired it. F it.
Shoot!
It seems I keep learning stuff every single time that I do this. In particular, I keep trying to skip text with by clicking it through, but Shift works on just normal text streams
All
as well.
he said was, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are going to die. And that is all.
And that's all it takes. What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
All I said was, they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be positive. We are all going to die here. We are going to die.
Just like those... No, that's wrong. That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
I mean, guys can be pretty neutral, but whatever. Keep firing away. Now it's funny.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations?
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
Staged!
It has to be some kind of setup, right?
It was!
So let's put the suit on, and then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
That's going too far.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
Except this one I'm gonna pull out of my ass. Just reverse it.
I got it! It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit.
I mean, it looks kind of ridiculous now that we talk about it, but whatever, that's
We've simply
explanation.
been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Yeah, hopefully you didn't just get that.
Such a thing is utterly impossible.
Oh, now what?
Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
But I have all this stuff to say, blah, 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 blah.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Except
No, that's wrong.
they totally could. You made the suit.
No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that, because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
So just for one picture. And of course it unraveled completely at trial, so great work.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
Oh crap, upside down. Falling to the ceiling.
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?
Celeste?
Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem.
Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying? When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not? He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro.
In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Right! But my name isn't really Yasuhiro! It's actually Taro!
Did you just make that up?
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
You're being confusing and I'm confused. Stop being confusing.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Good luck.
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
I'm a little confused as well.
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us.
Oh crap, I didn't pay attention to him.
How did he refer to each of us?
Now I wish he had done that!
I got it! That's right! Our last names! He called us all by our last names!
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example.
No, I do remember that too.
So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
Then who here has the last name of Yasuhiro?
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name.
Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation?
Yeah, coming from the gambler.
No. There's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Supposedly.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to, and that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
I'm surprised she would have told Otaku, but maybe?
What did you just say?
That's not your real name. You told us as such.
To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit!
Do both.
Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you?
Well, the other one does.
Well, do I?
Don't talk.
What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Fine. Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up!
Well, they're wide open.
My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
Holy freaking crap, I just realized what we're gonna have to do. Oh my gosh, that whole thing right before we went to the elevator where it's like, what about the e-handbook? We're like, what the frick does that matter?
He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
How many times do I have to tell you? My name is...
Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me, that's the only truth there is! Moron!
How'd that miss? Fine, I'll shoot better next time. It might come in handy.
He wanted us to know the killer. If there's one person...
It would have to be you, Celeste.
How many times? Celestia Ludenberg!
How long do you plan?
I'm not pretending. It's... And since you have no way to contradict me...
There it is.
No, that's wrong.
There, we should be good.
That's it. The handbook.
What?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right?
It should. See, this would have been a convenient time to break that.
Monokuma told us all about it before. So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
I wonder why.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Is this working? I beg of you.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Yep, I would see the meteor coming for us right now.
Fine then. Let me settle it.
I guess I'll just tell you what happened.
Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes. And that'll bring everything to an end.
Oh, the crystal ball's back. Neat. Oh yeah, this is 1 o'clock. That definitely sucked. What's with the evil laugh? I wonder if that bag of chips is gonna be useful.
The killer is you! Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was... Hifumi. With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes.
Those are some great shots. It's like he was on frickin' Sudafed or something the whole time.
First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro.
Oh gosh, is that whole vampire thing contagious?
The murderous
Oh,
duo
wait.
intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. So when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan.
Oh, so we're naming all the phases now.
They called Taka to the equipment room.
This would have been great for Slam and Sammy, but I
And
guess
that's where
too late.
Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room.
Dude, the top pane makes it look like he's trying to take off.
The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims to solidify Robo-Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room.
Which was bullcrap.
There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1 and the Robo-Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library.
Also bullcrap.
This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2 and an injured Hifumi to sell us that story. With these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that. But while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3
Blood whirlwind.
and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time.
Then we had heard the ding dong.
So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office, and once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository.
It made the sound of kisha, kisha, just so you know.
That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act.
Let's bring an end to that stupid dance.
Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them.
Dun dun dun.
And they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is...
Are we going into Kiss? Oh, for F's sakes. Okay, thank you. I don't know why we needed the flowers.
Celeste! Sorry, you lose.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I lost?
Yeah, that's it.
I lost?
Yep.
When was the last time I was forced to utter such words?
Don't worry, it won't happen again.
They hang heavy around my neck.
Well, just like the noose.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor. I, Celestia Ludenberg. Actually, no. Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
Taiko?
So, you finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
What's with the two voices, though?
Interesting.
I kind of like the other voice better. Hell yeah. Gonna get an A every time, whether I have to fail multiple times to do it. Cool. That's probably enough to get 2 new things.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin. Or, no, I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
What the hell are you pondering?
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote. Okay? Okay. If you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And when the votes are tallied, who will become the blackened?
I have no idea.
Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
I know who it is. It's like this frickin' slot machine was set up for her the whole time. Wait, can we have voted a dead guy? Ah, that's amazing.
What? Ta-da!
Honestly,
Aw, you're back to that voice.
I knew it.
I have an idea. Wait, you didn't?
So then,
I mean, I'm guessing the computer.
indeed.
Say what?
I bet you know, but we're gonna hide it from you anyway.
just a second.
How are you ever out of the loop? That's your own fault.
In other words,
Indeed.
Oh, no way! Oh, hell! Oh, that sucks. But where is it now?
I see.
Oh, that would be easier. No, it wouldn't. You could have just lied.
Actually,
What?
are you okay with this?
Frick.
So then,
Damnation! Say what?
as for me, as for me,
What?
Okay, I get why this was the perfect plan for him. The grunting noises sure helped.
Damnation! Say what?
I don't know, not only did took your computer, he felt bad for a pretty girl, everything worked.
Completely unforgivable!
most unfortunate. Actually,
What?
Oh yeah, he just totally laid out his entire plan to me for fun.
Let go!
Indeed.
Completely unforgivable!
Honestly.
I swear, I will save her!
Actually,
Turns out in the short time I was attacked, I have this 10-page plan that outlines everything we need to do. Oh, nice.
I see.
indeed.
But
Okay, that makes sense too. And that makes even more sense.
Let's see.
Ooh. Hey, but you get to survive to feel shame.
Well,
Anyway.
Are you okay with this?
Are we never gonna figure out how he got up after dying, said a bunch of stuff, and then died again? Okay.
so in the end,
What the heck?
Well,
don't be mean!
I wonder about that.
Why?
What the heck?
Really? Ah, now I hate you even more somehow.
But
You little bitch!
I should have known, but you
Hey!
said it so many times.
You little bitch!
This is fine.
Well, now this sounds stupid.
Honestly.
Dude, you should have just killed it the first, like, opportunity then. Because this was Shakira's whole thing.
As for me, isn't it wonderful?
Oh my gosh, this sounds so frickin' vain. This is a vampire cult, and you know it. Well, okay, the Lolita thing was pretty obvious that you vampire, blah, 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 but I didn't think, like, you'd actually say it. You were just, this is like Twilight 5 or something.
This is fine. There is nothing to be done.
Just the worst.
Oh,
Great.
do you understand?
What is this?
That's terrifying.
Yes, indeed.
I'd like to be a cow.
Isn't it wonderful?
Is that even possible?
hey,
Ooh.
Grills, chill!
Kills!
Well, you're gonna love this.
Now then, I've prepared a very special punishment.
You know, the real mystery is we're never gonna figure out what that stupid thing on her head is.
Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time!
I guess I'll let Kyoko hold on to this.
Wait, what?
What? Will it really give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way.
Oh yeah, you took the locker key.
Which is why... Actually, it's not important.
I bet it is.
Well then, take care, everyone.
Sayonara.
Perhaps we'll meet again. In another life.
I don't plan on going to hell. Are you just gonna, like, throw a bunch of chips at her or something? No! Did you let him know about the castle thing beforehand? Oh hey, this is what you were gonna do to the Riddler. Okay, you got me. I didn't expect you'd hit her with a truck. I love it, right? That was so bad, the thing I just did! Oh, never mind.
Extreme!
What kind of lecture is this?
What are you gonna do?
Let me out of here!
You're making it hard, but I think that's the point.
Too bad. How strange.
He already said it, right?
Hey, hey!
It opens up my heart.
What?
So then,
Ooh,
you...
that's a very vague question. Oh, you mean the whole amnesia thing?
Ooh.
This isn't supposed to be sexual.
Hey,
Wait, what? Is it more?
Ooh, how exciting!
Kind of a big thing to reveal.
Hello. Well? See ya later!
Don't worry, we love yelling at random.
so...
Hey,
Indeed.
So it never even left the room.
Hey,
What?
Oh, because otherwise it's suspicious.
so
Come on. What?
There aren't two masterminds.
Goodbye.
I'm sorry, two spies for the mastermind.
Well then.
There probably aren't two masterminds either.
Yo!
Yep, it's gonna be hot. Dang right.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay, now I'm feeling weird about it.
shall we go?
Hells yeah, the door's like right there.
So then,
Oh wow! You better not get stolen again! Now you won't be, but
you.
yeah, probably.
However,
Win then.
what?
We care about you!
Indeed.
I don't think you're the spy. I think there's something else going on.
What?
We don't talk a whole heck of a lot, but we're around you, I guess, and that makes us friends.
It's true.
Yes.
That's fine.
Cliffhanger!